You ever wonder if these ancient texts written thousands and thousands of years ago could actually have anything to say to us today? Like a real practical blueprint for life? Well, we're going to explore a few that suggest the answer is a big yes. So let's dive right in.
Okay, so what do ancient family trees, a famous prayer, and a Roman court case all have in common? I know, it sounds like the setup for a really weird joke, right? You've got this long, kind of boring list of names, a super desperate prayer from a total underdog, and then this intense, high-stakes legal drama. But you gotta stick with me here, because the way they all connect is, well, it's surprisingly powerful.
Because here's the thing, they might just hold a blueprint for navigating our crazy modern world. That's the big idea we're unpacking today. How these totally separate-seeming passages actually click together to form this cohesive guide. Something that takes us from the huge, grand sweep of history all the way down to the little choices you and I make every single day.
All right, so first up, let's zoom all the way out and look at the big picture. And we're gonna find it in a place you'd probably never expect, a genealogy. I know. Lists of names can feel a little dry. But back then, these lists were everything. They were about who you were, what you were entitled to, your whole destiny, really. And this one has a massive story hidden right there between the lines. So this isn't just any family tree, not by a long shot. This is the royal line. It's tracing the lineage all the way from Judah down to the legendary King David. And the way it's presented, it's not just a history lesson. It's meant to be seen as a divine plan, a huge promise being kept, unfolding generation by generation. It's all about establishing this incredible legacy of leadership and, well, purpose.
But here's what's absolutely fascinating. This family history, it is not cleaned up for public consumption. I mean, it's all in there. You've got people like who's straight up described as wicked, and Tamar, who gets caught up in a huge, messy family scandal. And that's the whole point. The takeaway is that this big redemptive story is woven through the lives of flawed, broken, real people. It's this powerful statement that grace isn't for the perfect people, it's for the rest of us.
So suddenly, this long list of names isn't just a record anymore, is it? It becomes this powerful symbol of a promise that just could not be broken. It's about a hope for an eternal throne that somehow survived everything, war, disaster, even being exiled from their own land. It's just a testament to this incredible, unwavering faithfulness across the ages.
Okay, so we've seen the big, sweeping, generational story. Now let's zoom way in. We're going to focus on just one guy, an individual who absolutely refused to let his circumstances define him.
His name is Jabez, and his story is just this tiny little interruption tucked away in the middle of another one of those long genealogies. Get this, his name literally means pain or sorrow. His mom gave it to him because she had such a hard time giving birth to him, so his life literally started with pain. But Jabez, he wasn't about to let his name decide his future. No way. Instead, he prays this incredibly bold, super specific 4-part prayer. He goes for it. He asks for blessing, and not just a little, but bless me indeed. He asks to expand his influence, his territory. He asks for God's hand to be with him, guiding him. And then, he asks to be kept from the very thing he was named for, pain. And the result? The text is so simple, so direct. It just says, and God granted him what he requested. That's it. No long explanation. It's just this tiny story, hidden away in the records, but it's such a potent example of how a bold personal faith can completely rewrite your life story.
Okay, so we've gone from the big picture to the deeply personal. Now we're pivoting to the public square. This is where things get real. This is where faith is tested, not in a quiet moment of prayer, but in a courtroom, with your life hanging in the balance. So here's the setup. The Apostle Paul is on trial, and he is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Actually, 3 hard places. You've got the Jewish leaders who literally have a plot to ambush and kill him. You've got Governor Festus, who's just trying to play politics and keep everybody happy. And then you have Paul, who makes a brilliant and totally unexpected legal move. See, appealing to Caesar wasn't some last-ditch, desperate move. It was a genius strategy. First, it immediately put him under Roman legal protection, which completely shut down that assassination plot. Bam. Second, it lined up perfectly with what he believed God wanted him to do anyway, which was go and testify in Rome. And third, it gave him the ultimate platform to share his message, right in front of the most powerful people in the entire empire. He was using his rights as a citizen to push for justice and advance his mission all at the same time.
And when you boil it all down, after all the legal back and forth and the political games, the Roman governor sums up the entire case. He says the whole thing hinges on one central point: a certain Jesus who had died, whom Paul affirmed to be alive. That was it. The whole reason for the plots, the trials, the appeal to Caesar, it was all about the resurrection. That was the explosive, non-negotiable core of the whole conflict.
All right, so we've seen the huge historical plan, the personal breakthrough prayer, and the courageous public stand. But how does any of that actually translate to just daily life, the day-to-day grind? Well, for that, we turn to our last source, which is basically a practical toolkit of street-smart wisdom.
And this one proverb just captures it so perfectly. Better is a dry morsel with quietness than a house full of feasting with strife. I mean, think about it. What would you rather have? A simple meal in a peaceful home or a giant feast in a house full of fighting? This kind of wisdom puts peace in your relationships way above having a lot of stuff. And man, is that a challenge to the way a lot of us think today.
And this whole chapter of Proverbs really lays out a clear moral order. It's like on one side, you have all the things God values, the stuff that builds a good life and a healthy community. Peace at home, forgiving people, true friendship, real justice. And on the other side, all the stuff that tears it down. Constant fighting, repeating old offenses, ditching your friends when they need you, and twisting justice with bribes. The lines are drawn crystal clear.
All right, so we've looked at these four very different snapshots, right? A long family tree, a short prayer, a dramatic trial, and a chapter of wise sayings. So now, let's pull it all together and find the thread that connects this whole thing.
And here it is, the big picture. The Chronicles show us that God's plan works through generations of flawed people. The story of Jabez shows us that our own bold faith can totally change our destiny. Paul's trial shows that faith sometimes means taking a courageous public stand for what's right. And Proverbs gives us the practical, daily wisdom we need to actually build a life of integrity. You see how it fits? It's a complete blueprint, from the cosmic scale down to your Tuesday morning.
And all of that brings us to the final and maybe most important question. Because this blueprint, it's not just some interesting ancient history. It's a vision for a life that matters. A life where your personal story, your public actions, and your daily choices are all part of one single interconnected narrative. So the real question it leaves for you and for me is, if history, prayer, and justice are all part of the same story, what part will you play?